on the hunt for this man, Percy Froman. They say the good-looking 29-year-old hustles older men for money. But now they say he's turned to murder, killing a man in Birmingham just to steal a truck. Then in Texas, police say Froman beat and robbed a clerk at this motel. Agents fear this is just the beginning. They think they've got another Andrew Cunanan on their hands. Well, Froman, we're going to stop this tonight. The manhunt starts right now.
It's Saturday, April 10th, 1999. To date, your tips have led to the capture of 557 fugitives. Tonight on America's Most Wanted, America Fights Back. Monsters from the movies coming to a neighborhood near you.
Heard a gunshot, and he said, "I've just shot your son in the leg. Cooperate, or I'm going to shoot him in the head."
And I saw Stephen laying there in a human-sized puddle of blood. I asked him how he was, and he said, "Okay."
I can close my eyes and picture waving at the door, "Goodbye, Mommy."
She said he kidnapped her child.
And when I came back, he told me that he had taken Catherine away.
The jury found him not guilty, but secret tapes reveal a different story.
That was a game, and I win the game, okay? You people are still alive only because of me.
Tonight, we know where he is. Now we need you to find the missing child. Also, it's the nation's most baffling murder case. A well-respected State Department officer. No one knew what drove him so hard, or what could drive him to kill his entire family, or how he got away with it for 23 years. We gathered all the clues, chased him halfway around the world.
I said to him, "You're Brad Bishop, aren't you?" And he swiped his forehead and ran out into a blinding rainstorm.
Tonight, we'll give you the one clue that could bring him down, because tonight, America's Most Wanted is where America fights back. Now, from our crime center in Washington, D.C., John Walsh.
Good evening. We're starting off tonight with a very important breaking story. The case of a missing 6-year-old girl. Now, when we first aired the case of Opal Jennings last week, the story generated hundreds of tips. And we know that if we all work together, we can bring this case to a close. Ashley Banfield has been covering the story, and she joins us with the latest. Ashley, what's the update?
John, Saginaw, Texas is a tiny little town north of Fort Worth. Only about 9,000 people live there, but tonight every one of those people is focused on one goal: finding out what happened to little Opal Jennings.
What you got there, Opal?
A dog in the door.
Aww. Who gave you the kitty cat?
That's a kitty cat,
This video was taken just 2 weeks before Easter. But by Easter Sunday, this sweet little girl was gone. Opal's family is keeping her Easter basket until she's been returned home safe and sound. Opal lives here at her grandmother's house. 2 weeks ago, she was playing just outside with her 2-year-old cousin and 4-year-old friend. They were investigating an anthill on the curve. Grandmother Audrey Sanderford told me she heard the 2-year-old Austin suddenly scream. The family gathered on that very spot to go over what happened next.
That Austin came crying his little heart out, and he said that Opal had gone bye-bye. And we started, and he pointed that way. So we started across the street. He says, "No, Mama, she went bye-bye, car's man."
Opal's abduction also terrified her 4-year-old friend.
He said that what happened was the man had kind of grabbed Opal up. She started to scream, and he hit her once. And this is a 4-year-old talking now. Then he went down to Jennifer's Drive, turned around, and went out the street that way.
The preschoolers were the last people to see Opal. The Saginaw police force searched the town into the night. By 1 in the morning, the FBI was called in. A command center and 50 agents were up and running. They searched fields and the quarry, on horseback, on foot, with divers, and with bloodhounds. But as hours turned into days and then weeks, it became clear that whomever abducted this precious 6-year-old was keeping her well hidden.
This is the rock quarry, about 1.5 miles from Opal's house. Things are pretty quiet here now. The divers have long since packed up and gone home. They didn't find a thing here. So if Opal is not in the quarry, and she's not at home, where do you take the search for Opal next?
I don't think she's around here. I think she's probably out of state or away far out in Texas, someplace where people have not seen the local media. I just got this gut feeling that's where she's at.
The family is hoping some clues will come in from an unlikely place, a nearby motor speedway.
There was a NASCAR race here that weekend. Some of those people may have seen something.
Some of those race fans may have been among our many callers last week. Police are still sorting out the information.
We got a flood of calls. In fact, we're still working those calls right now, and we hope to get more as the week goes by.
These are the only clues. Opal's abductor is a white or Hispanic male with dark hair in a ponytail. He was wearing a red baseball cap and might be driving a dark car with primer spots and tinted windows. We can only pray that he has not harmed this child.
How you doing at school? Good.
Please take one more look at Opal. Notice that she's tall for her age, with bright blue eyes, and keep in mind that she's missing her front tooth. If you know anything about the whereabouts of 6-year-old Opal Jennings, call 1-800-CRIME-TV.
I'll tell you, it's really hard to look at that home video of little Opal. Now, Ashley, please, give us an update on suspects.
Well, police brought in one man that simply matched the description. They questioned him, but they let him go. And they brought in another man. This one they arrested on a parole violation. Turned out he was a convicted child molester. They questioned him too, John, but in the end they let him go as well. So at this point, we're right back to square one.
So we need all the help we can get. Now, I know she has a big extended family. How are they doing?
As to be expected, after this long, things are very difficult. A lot of family members have come in from out of state, and they're all trying to keep the faith, hold vigil at the home. It's been a very tough time.
Well, thank you very much for your work, Ashley. Let's pray for the best. Now, there's a couple important things here to remember. We're back to square one. We need all the help we can get. And I remember when my son was kidnapped, he was 6 years old and he had missing teeth. So I think they're an important clue. If you've seen a little girl with missing front teeth that looks like Opal, please make that call. Somebody knows something about this case. Have the courage to call 1-800-CRIME-TV. Now, last week we showed you a man who was the victim of a violent home invasion. Police believe it was his extravagant display of wealth that made him a target. But home invasions can happen to anyone at any time. That's what police have seen of Joel Urena. Police say Urena should be considered armed and dangerous. They believe that he may be hiding in California, Nevada, or Mexico. He may be working as a painter or in construction. If you've seen Joel Urena, call our hotline at 1-800-CRIME-TV.
Up next, the drive for success pushes one man to the edge.
He got passed by for the promotion. Oh, no. He didn't make the list.
And when his world is derailed, he goes over the edge.
There's been this voice in me that's been struggling for recognition all its life. I'm gonna listen to it. And where it's gonna lead me, well, I just don't know.
And later, this gang member was known for his magic.
Hey, where'd it go, man?
The cops knew him better for murder. But after he's convicted, he saves his best disappearing act for jail.
Back in our first season, we used this forensic age progression bust to find John List after 18 years on the run. He was later convicted of murdering his entire family. Well, tonight we're hoping that another bust will have the same results in an eerily similar case, the case of William Bradford Bishop. The brutal crime he's accused of was a total shock to the people who knew him in better times. From an early age, Brad Bishop developed a passion for the outdoors that would last a lifetime. Spent most of his time around the water, fishing and swimming. Young Brad raced on horseback as well. Took frequent vacations with his family. Wherever he went, Brad liked to be the center of attention. He grew accustomed to the good life in a family that owned their own small oil well. Intensely competitive, Brad ran track in high school and played quarterback. He was a popular young man who craved the attention of his classmates. Brad was also a thrill seeker. He loved to ride motorcycles with an abandon that bordered on recklessness. He also developed a particular fondness for convertibles, tinkering with them and showing off at the wheel. Brad traveled to exotic places and showed an exceptional aptitude for languages while studying at Yale. Ever mindful of his mother's gaze, Brad carried himself with the assurance of a man expected to excel, and he did. After Yale with his newlywed wife Annette, Bishop lived the dashing life of a young Foreign Service officer. The couple traveled to Europe and Africa and began a family. With a devoted wife and mother and a growing family, Bishop seemed to be living the American dream. And when you look at these images of a happy family, it's hard to imagine how it could have ended the way it did. In the winter of 1976, Brad Bishop had a secret, something deep inside him, hidden, even from his picture-perfect family.
Brad, what's he?
He's had a hard day.
Oh, really? What happened?
He got passed by for the promotion.
Oh, no.
He didn't make the list.
Better look next time. You know how it is. Either you move up or you move out.
Hi, Brad. Brad? What's the matter? You look like you lost your best friend.
I didn't make the list.
Well, if it's any consolation, I didn't make it either.
But I deserved it more than you.
Well, some people might argue with that.
Sorry.
I'm really worried about money, Mom. I'm thinking of going back to work.
It's his state of mind I'm more concerned about, not the money.
Bradford Bishop was viewed as a very troubled individual. He had been treated for at least 5 years for depression based on instability and anxiety. He was allegedly addicted to medication that he received for the depression.
Conversations between patients and psychiatrists are confidential. However, we have reconstructed this scene from Bishop's own writings.
Unfulfilled, unused. As a man, I'm unspent. But lately, there's been this self-awakening, this voice in me that's been struggling for recognition all its life is finally coming to the surface, telling me to wake up, do something with your life. And I've realized that that's the only thing you have to be answerable to, is that voice in you. I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to listen to it. And where it's going to lead me, well, I just don't know.
On March 1st of 1976, he left work early. He purchased a mini mall hammer and a gas can.
It was the worst scene I'd ever been on, and to this day, it's still the worst scene that I've ever been on. There were numerous bloody fingerprints throughout the home, and they were later determined to be those of Bradford Bishop.
Police say Bishop drove the bodies more than 300 miles into the remote timberlands of North Carolina. As Bishop's past went up in flames, an alarm sounded at a nearby fire tower. Police say Brad Bishop disappeared. Bishop left behind several clues at the burial site, including a gas can and a shovel, which had a label from a Bethesda, Maryland hardware store on it. At the Bishop home in Bethesda, detectives found blood everywhere, including bloody fingerprints matching those found on the gas can left in North Carolina. Police launched a massive manhunt, but Bishop had vanished. He reappeared in Stockholm, Sweden in 1978, when a diplomat's wife spotted him. 6 months later in Sorrento, Italy, a place Bishop and his wife had visited in happier times, Bishop was spotted again.
And this bearded man came in, and I said to him, "You're Brad Bishop, aren't you?" And he began shaking and trembling, backing up from me. Finally swiped his forehead and ran out into a blinding rainstorm.
Bishop was then supposedly spotted in Alicante, Spain in 1991. A couple remembered meeting a man matching his description, but the FBI could not confirm this sighting. But the FBI could confirm the next sighting. It was in Basel, Switzerland in September of 1994. A former neighbor of Bishop saw him at a train station. And that's it, the last reported sighting of William Bradford Bishop, a man who police say was cold enough to kill his entire family and cunning enough to get away with it for 23 years. So it's been 5 years since anyone's seen Bishop, and even longer since he's been photographed. So our forensic artist, Frank Bender, has created this age-progressed bust of what an older Brad Bishop might look like. Now, he may still have a mustache or a goatee, or he could be clean-shaven, looking something like this. Brad Bishop has been on the run 23 years. He's out there, but he's been out there way too long. If you think you can help close this case, please call us tonight at 1-800-CRIME-TV.
Up next, police say this man took an innocent child from her mother.
He told me that he had taken Catherine away to Bangladesh to punish me for not wanting to be with him.
But the suspect vows not to stop there.
I'm just waiting till that day when I'm all right with my money and everything, and then I'm just going to kill it.
A child becomes a pawn in a deadly battle of wills.
He knows he's in charge right now, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He knows he's been in charge since day one.
One of the hardest things about being the parent of a missing child is the not knowing, wondering whether your child is alive. Frances Moya's little girl has been missing for 5 long years, and all that time she's been told that her daughter is safe. But the one person who's giving her that hope is the one person she can't trust. John Turchin has the story.
The drop would have been out the Beeline Highway basement.
For more than 5 years now, FBI agent Jeff Danik has committed hundreds of hours to searching for Catherine Lugo.
Moving along where you're...
This altitude, about 400 feet, it's just amazing how much you can see. And how much...
Danik hopes each time he flies over the Everglades, he'll spot something, anything that might help him find the child.
Today what we're looking for are remnants of clothing. She was wearing a Barney shirt, which is light-colored.
His tireless efforts all began in Riviera Beach, Florida, near West Palm Beach, where Catherine mysteriously disappeared from her home in 1994. Since then, Danik hasn't given up hope that Catherine is still alive.
We don't have a homicide crime scene, so no one's proved to me that she's dead. The items that we do have that would constitute any type of crime scene indicate abduction.
The man Danik believes abducted Catherine is Misbah Kazi, an illegal immigrant from Bangladesh. A man Danik says is capable of anything.
At times, his behavior appears to be that of like an assassin, much like a mob figure could carry out a contract hit after spending the day playing with his grandchildren.
At the time of the abduction, Kazi was living with Catherine and her mother, Frances Moya. Although Moya was pregnant with Kazi's child, she was about to end their relationship. Kazi knew it and was angry. He was especially bitter after Moya told him their unborn child would never carry his name.
Did you ever see anything that indicated he was violent?
Not at first when we first met. And at one point in time, we did have fights. But then he always was nice to Catherine, always.
In spite of their problems, Moya never thought Kazi would harm her precious daughter. But she says that all changed on Saturday, January 8th, 1994.
What do you remember of that day in January 1994?
The morning when I woke up, I was taking Catherine to work with me because it was a Saturday and her daycare was closed. And he's like, no, I'm not going to work today. Leave her here. I can close my eyes and picture waving at the door, goodbye, mommy, see you later. And I can see him behind her closing the door. And when I came back, he told me that he had taken Catherine away to Bangladesh and that he was going to bring her back when I have the baby. That's why he took Catherine, to punish me for not wanting to be with him.
Since Kazi's father worked for Biman Bangladesh Airlines, detectives first searched local airports, fearing the child was being smuggled out of the country. But when police found no record of Catherine, a missing child investigation was launched. Detectives quickly started searching Catherine's neighborhood and questioning Kazi and Moya. This videotape was shot that same day at police headquarters as the couple was interviewed by detectives.
Every time I questioned him about the child, he put his head down and start crying. That's not a normal reaction if you have no involvement or have no knowledge of the child. Miss Moya, on the other hand, was very sincere, very upset, very distraught about what happened.
Police were convinced Moya was right, that Catherine's abduction was a desperate act on Kazi's part to gain custody of their unborn child.
During the entire investigation up to now, everything still points to Mr. Kazi, that he took Catherine Lugo.
Moya's former boyfriend was arrested and charged with kidnapping. But publicly, Kazi maintained his innocence.
No. When I wake up, I need to see the child. And both of them, they was not at home at the time.
Detectives also questioned Kazi's sister, Nita, who shared a house with the couple.
Initially, she told the police in Riviera Beach and our office that Misbah was lying and that he had Catherine on Saturday morning.
Nita told investigators Kazi drove her to her job at Burger King that Saturday morning, and Catherine rode along.
They were coming to this Burger King in Juno Beach, which is about 7 miles north of their apartment. Nita was in the front passenger seat, and Catherine was in the rear seat wrapped in a blanket, and she was playing with a small toy. Misbah pulled in, and his sister Nita got out of the car and went through that east door. That was the last time anybody's ever seen Catherine Lugo.
This videotape deposition, obtained exclusively by America's Most Wanted, shows Nita breaking down as she recalls the morning Catherine disappeared.
Miss Kazi, was she in the car when your brother drove you to work?
Yeah, he went to drop Catherine to her mom.
For Agent Danik, it was a big break in the case. But when Kazi finally went to trial, Nita took the stand and drastically changed her story. Through her interpreter, Nita said her original statement to police was a lie.
The question, Miss Kazi, was she in the car when your brother drove you to work? Your answer was, yeah. He went to drive Catherine to her mom, wasn't it?
She lied. She was not in the car.
That denial was a devastating blow to the prosecution.
We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant in this case, not guilty.
And a heart-wrenching verdict for Moya. After 9 months in jail, Misbah Kazi was a free man. Once released, he decided to leave South Florida and start a new life in California. But that didn't stop the investigation. Investigators were still convinced Kazi played a role in Catherine's disappearance. They kept the case open. The FBI continued to track Kazi's every move, following him across the country, looking for more clues that could lead them to Catherine. Danek's search for Catherine led him to San Jose, California, where Kazi settled in 1995. It seemed Kazi was getting on with his life. He was taking paralegal classes at a nearby business college. But then he started to make taunting phone calls to Moya. Calls recorded by the FBI.
No, I didn't kill Catherine. Catherine is alive. I want you to know that no matter what you do, no matter what you say, Catherine is alive.
2 months after that phone call, Kazi's taunts turned to threats.
You will never get what you want till that day you kiss my ass. You know what? I'm nice with you and your daughter. You people are still alive only because of me.
You remember you took my daughter. I didn't take yours.
Hey, listen, that was a game, and I win the game, okay? I fought with you. I fought with the FBI. I fought with the whole American justice system.
Does he get off on the control?
Yeah, he does. He has to be in control. He has to have power over whoever he's talking with.
During that same conversation, Kazi vows to take custody of their newborn child, Brenda.
I'm just waiting till that day when I'm all right with my money and everything. And then I'm just going to kill you. And nobody can hold Brenda at that point of time.
He knows he's in charge right now, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He knows he's been in charge since day one. Since day one, he's been in charge of that.
Kazi claims that he's won the game, but the sad truth is he's just started playing it. When we return, you'll see that the next move he makes turns violent.
Up next.
Through his attorney, I was led to believe that Ms. Kazi could produce proof that Catherine Lugo was alive.
He likes the torture. He likes playing the game. If he did something to harm her child, then the game is over.
Welcome back. When we left off with the story of Catherine Lugo, the little girl had been missing for a year. And a man named Misbah Kazi, the one man who might know where she is, had started taunting Catherine's mother. Well, strangely enough, the more violent he became, the more hope there would be of finding Catherine.
When Francis Moya started getting threatening phone calls from Kazi, the FBI knew they had explosive evidence against him. But it was Kazi's next sinister plot that would bring them even closer to solving Catherine's case.
I thought he was a friend, so it didn't get into my mind that he wasn't.
22-year-old Theopodine Nemanjeva was Misbah Kazi's next victim. They met at the business college. Theo had come to the United States from Jamaica and needed a green card so she could legally work here. Kazi said he could help. She trusted him.
I just believed him because he was a foreigner just like I was.
Kazi told Theo the plan would only work if they pretended to be married. He said they also needed to take out a $500,000 life insurance policy. He agreed. Kazi was the beneficiary.
I wasn't thinking that he would want to kill me so he can get the money.
A month later, Kazi told Theo he needed to meet her at a hotel to go over paperwork for her green card.
This is the room where it happened. It was Wednesday night, November of 1995.
And I was sitting on the thing like this because I was facing this way to dial the phone, and he came behind me and put the 2 electric shocks on my head.
Then Kazi dragged Theo into the bathroom.
He was holding my hand, and he was putting my head in and out of the toilet. And that's when he went back to the room and got the hammer, and then came back, and he was hitting me constantly in my head.
After hitting Theo 15 times in the head with a hammer, Kazi choked her with a telephone cord, then tossed her lifeless body into a tub of hot water and covered her with blankets.
He was pushing the blanket and just kept on pushing the blanket, thinking he was pushing my head in the water. So I stopped moving.
Kazi had no idea he was only pushing Theo's elbow into the water. After Kazi left, Theo passed out. Miraculously, she woke up hours later, screaming for help. Once San Jose police discovered Kazi was her attacker, the hunt was on to find him.
What are you reporting?
San Jose police got their first lead from a 911 call the day after the savage attack. Kazi, claiming to be Theo's cousin from Canada, called to see if Theo was dead.
San
Jose, please.
Good morning. I'm calling you from Canada, and I heard that my cousin, she's beaten.
You heard she's what?
She's beaten to death, and I wonder if that's true or not.
We played the tape for the FBI, and they immediately identified the caller's voice as Ms. Bakazi.
Fearing Kazi would flee the country, police put out an all-border stop. The FBI started tracking Kazi's credit cards, tracing them from California to Florida to New York. Nearly 3 weeks later, Kazi was captured in Plattsburgh, New York, trying to cross the Canadian border. He was arrested and charged with attempted murder.
If he's convicted of that case out there, I knew we would have a good chance of having him backed into a corner to a point where he would give up Catherine Lugo for his freedom.
Before Kazi's trial even began, he started playing games again, but this time with the San Jose DA's office.
Did you ever have any discussions with Kazi's attorney about Catherine Lugo's whereabouts?
Yes, through his attorney, I was led to believe that Ms. Bakazi could produce proof that Catherine Lugo was alive.
Frank Aruba says he was promised either a video or a photograph of Catherine holding a copy of a recent magazine. But Kazi also wanted something in return. Full immunity in Catherine's kidnapping case, a lighter sentence for his attack on Theo, and U.S. citizenship.
It's almost like a hostage situation where he has an opportunity to advance demands.
Although officials were willing to listen, they were never willing to negotiate one victim's rights for another. Kazi didn't budge.
What he was trying to do was use Catherine Lugo as a sword and to benefit from a crime that he had committed in the past.
And go on from here.
Back in Florida, Nancy McBride believes in her heart Catherine is still alive. As director of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children in Florida, she's seen Moya through years of Kazi's promises to return Catherine. Promises he keeps breaking.
He likes the torture. He likes playing the game. If he did something to harm her child, then the game is over.
When Kazi finally went to trial for the brutal attack on Theo Nemenjebo, once again, his true character came through. Kazi tried to trick the jury into believing it was Theo's boyfriend who beat her.
It's almost unbelievable to think that in his mind he could con, to use his terminology, a jury in the American criminal justice system to believe his preposterous story.
The jury convicted Ms. Bakazi of attempted murder and assault. Kazi was finally sentenced on November 7th, 1997. That day, Theo told the court how she felt.
It's very sad that we have human beings that will try to do harm in other people that didn't do anything to them. And I was one of those people.
With that emotional plea, the judge gave Kazi life in prison with parole.
Mr. Kazi, you're very fortunate today that you're not being sentenced to death.
Facing life in prison, Kazi was given an opportunity to tell prosecutors where to find Catherine and reduce his sentence. There was just one stipulation. Under California law, Kazi had only 120 days to break his silence.
The only way that Ms. Bakazi is ever going to see the light of day is if he could prove to us that Catherine Lugo is still alive. Otherwise, he's going to stay in prison for the rest of his life.
Now, the 120 days came and went without a confession from that coward. If it were up to me, I'd find a way to make this arrogant guy tell the truth, but it's not. So now it's up to you to find Catherine. This is what Catherine Lugo looked like when she disappeared back in 1994. Catherine is 10 years old now, and this new age-enhanced photo shows what she might look like today. Investigators say they've had sightings in Reno, Nevada, and New York City. And our greatest hope is that someone will pick up the phone and tell us whether she's alive and well. Now, if that someone is you, please have the courage to call us at 1-800-CRIME-TV.
Coming up next, cops say this magician could make objects disappear.
Hey, where'd it go, man?
And if you crossed him, he could make you disappear permanently. Now he's disappeared, and we need you to expose his secret.
California needs your help tonight to locate 13-year-old Lindsay Phillips, who disappeared on Tuesday, April 6th. Call if you can help. Back in the late 80s, Victor Castellanos worked as a magician. He was good enough to work the lounge circuit in Las Vegas. He was also a mechanic. With those skills, he didn't need to live a life of crime. But the lure of being a big guy with the 18th Street Gang was just too much for him. December 13th, 1986, Southwest L.A.
Watch it, I got a new trick for you guys. Check him out. Maybe a frajo.
Victor Castellanos was hanging out with the gang and showing off his magic tricks, living up to his gang nickname, Mago, or the Magician.
Cool, man. Hey, where'd it go, man?
How'd you do that? Check him out, man. South Menlo Avenue was gang turf, and members considered anything on it their own, including the apartment building where 25-year-old Angel Herrera, a Mexican immigrant, lived with his brothers.
Good one, man.
What's happening?
Órale. You're going me, huh?
Downstairs, my apartment.
Where you from, Baco?
I don't have a gang.
You in the wrong neighborhood, I said. Some nice looking ring. If I need another ring, don't I, Chato?
It sure do, Mago.
Give it to me.
That's mine.
Shoot you, Esther. Don't you know who I am, Bato? I'm Mago 1803. This is my barrio, my neighborhood. Even the cops respect me, Bato. I'm gonna shoot you dead.
We arrested Victor Castellanos at his girlfriend's house 6 days after the murder. At the time we arrested him, he was did not appear to be your typical gang member. He was 29 years old, which is old for a gang member. Wearing glasses, which is very, very rare that you never see gang members wearing glasses.
March 22nd, 1990. After spending nearly 2 years of his murder sentence at Folsom Prison, Castellanos was in the L.A. County Jail awaiting appeal, getting ready for his biggest magic act yet. Deputies believe he may have injured his own knee as part of a plan to escape. That got him into a holding cell and on his way to the hospital, just the setup the magician needed.
What you looking at?
Last man walking.
Deputies say Castellanos may have used an old magician's trick and slipped in and out of the cuff.
All right, guys, let's go.
Castellanos chose the perfect time to slip out of sight. The guards had just changed shifts, and none could track him.
Dominic. Smith. Washington.
Yeah.
Castellanos. Number 9, Castellanos. Hey there. I got 9 names on the sheet. I only got 8 guys in the bus. You got a Castellanos up there?
Stand by, let me check. I just got relieved. I wasn't down there to check him through.
Yeah, I've got a Castellanos.
What's the problem?
What do you want me to do?
Very likely he's a miss out. Go ahead and take off without him.
Okay.
Once the bus was out of the prison yard, Castellanos disappeared into downtown Los Angeles.
Hey, man!
Castellanos is broad-shouldered and likes to lift weights. He has a knife scar from his left wrist down to his index finger, and he's got a crooked left middle finger as well. He sports full-length tattoos of the Virgin Mary on his back and a heart with a crown of thorns on his chest. Deputies believe he's hiding somewhere in the Southwest. If you've seen Victor Rodriguez Castellanos, call us at 1-800-CRIME-TV.
Bring the Crime Center into your own home with the America's Most Wanted magazine. It's the magazine with a mission. You can help us find missing children, hunt down the AMW Top 10, and more. And if you order now, you'll get a free copy of One Tough Computer Cop. This CD-ROM program is a simple way for parents to protect their kids from predators and pedophiles on the internet. A one-year subscription is just $24.95. To order, call toll-free 1-877-AMW-GEAR. That's 1-877-269-4327.
Next week, we'll be back with the story of your latest capture. It's a guy we've been after for a long